Hey, Chris. Actually, maybe this is not going to work. Hold on. Okay, forgot to set up my desktop environment. Let me go through what I currently think about when it comes to the Orca database and my documentation there, and how that flows into Storybook, which is around UI componentry. So I don't have any documentation about our design system because we don't need that level of detail right now. But for me, what's most important is that I know how things go from OUX land into componentry because I'm coding the componentry. So what you see over here is this is my Orca database, my documentation. Make that a little bit bigger so you can see that. Close that. And then this is Storybook on the left-hand side. Let's just go down to objects for a second. And let's go to placement, for example. So if I go to Storybook and I start typing placement, you'll see maybe over here it says placement card, placement details, placement list. So there's my LCD or CDL as it turns out. So placement list right now is broken. Not broken, but I need to set an object. It doesn't matter. Go to card. So there's my card that sits within the UI. It's kind of in a weirdo state right now because it doesn't usually sit in the UI like this. But the point here is to show you that like I can turn there's things like this attribute, which is the speed, which is shown through this graph. So this is a number of attributes here, like the actual speed and acceleration, deceleration, all that stuff is shown here. And then I've got show house number, which is important. And so I can turn both of these off to be like that kind of deal. Great. And I have a variant. So I've got the compact version, which is shown in UI, in a different UI. And then I have the default version, which is shown in a details panel. So I've got card, list, and then placement details is also broken. Oh, because the panel thing is here. Okay, this is what happens all the time, by the way. These Storybook stories break. Maybe placement isn't the right thing. Maybe we have for moment. Moments only have a card and detail. So yeah, this is better. This is actually spec'd out better. So a moment card has these attributes to it. And if I go over here to moment, I can open up moment and go down here and see here's the core content for a moment, which is really nothing because a moment just holds other metadata. Don't worry about that. But here's the metadata, right? The kind, and then I've got type in here, but like there's the kind, the date time there, the planetary hour. Well, how do you see that? It's actually more of a detail view that's here. Planetary day here, sect, whether it's diurnal or nocturnal. And then the roll-ups, these roll-ups actually don't exist right now in that card, but will exist in future versions. So I have this, the moment object, and then here I have the moment component, and how these things can link up between the Orca documentation and the componentry that sits within Storybook would be very helpful. And you can even see there's this embedded object here, or this nested object. So if I go to relationships, you'll see that there is a nested object. Placements, that's different. So you would want to see the ones that are on this doesn't have a priority on it. That's fine. You want to see the ones that only exist on the card level. Right now, this documentation doesn't do that. But you can see here that there is something that has one perspective that filters and controls its view. That's what this is. So the perspective is this, and then you can click this to change the perspective if need be. Anyways, all this to say that there are And you can see a broken thing down here. Great. There are things between the documentation, which I host through Notion, which is Sophia's Notion database of the Orca documentation, and then how that manifests in Storybook. And right now, it's done in my head or done manually. If this was a bigger organization, it might be a problem. And I think that would be a very good Advancie project. Let me know what you think. Okay, bye.